we seminar on afternoon, Wednesday afternoon on comparatively because Professor Jang from the Cardiff, UK, United Kingdom, is now in the morning, right?
Yes.
So we are living in this global world. So I'm inviting scholars from the Europe and from United States and Australia. So the time zone difference is kind of one of global phenomenon to current the Zoom research colloquium situation. So it's a quite interesting, phenomenon. And anyway, due to the time difference, and I giving the favorable condition for Professor Jang Seongsoo, and inviting to this afternoon time in Korea. And thank you very much for students you coming on Wednesday afternoon class. Okay, please turn on your video for him, and presentation and presenters should interact with you and face to face. Okay, there is etiquette for Professor Jang. Okay, please turn on your video as long as your condition allowed. Okay, I'm going to briefly introduce Professor Jang first, and then stage goes to you. Okay, hold on. Where is it? Oh, hold on. Okay, sorry. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Professor Jang, his name is Jang Seongsoo, and the English name is Simon. Reader, associate professor. The English they called reader in marketing analytics in Cardiff Business School and Cardiff University in UK. Probably students may not know where the Cardiff is. Probably he will explain the location. And he is a co-chair of Marketing Analytics and AI Special Interesting Group, SIG, at the Academy of Marketing, wow. And the Director of Internationalization at the Korea Marketing Association. He serves on editorial boards of Journal Strategic Marketing, which is a top-tier journal, and Internal Research, very good journal as well, and Asia Marketing Journal, and the Journal of Smart. Wow, the best one, Journal of Smart Tourism. He has 15 years of industry experience as a marketing strategy and analytics managers, and collaborate with various companies on funded and consulting project, which means he expert on industry as well as academia. It's a very unusual case. Okay, please welcome Professor Jang, and the stage goes to you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much first. It's a big honor. I mean, Professor Gu kindly invited me to present some thought and then experience about research. And it's a big pleasure to share my experience with some young kind of future promising scholars and then some other famous researchers together. Mm-hmm. So let me share my screen, and then we can continue our talk.
Good, very good.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure that the Kyunghee University is one of the prestigious university in a tourism or even other disciplines. This afternoon, the topic is about how we conduct empirical research using real-world data. So let's find out together. And then maybe my personal experience and trial and errors and lessons together. Yeah. So if you have any questions, raise your hand or just try me, and then we can have some short chat and move on. So topics, quite a lot of things here because we have 2 hour session, but I can finish it like within 1.5 hours, and then we can have some more discussion. So first of all, get to know about myself. Okay, this kind of one destiny. We get to know each other. So what about me, my research journey, and then using real world data. And second topic is about I try to learn from top tier journal kind of editors and scholars on how to craft a high quality manuscript. Even though I'm working on some marketing and tourism kind of hybrid, so you are working for tourism hospitality discipline, still we are in business like research world. So we can learn from each other from discipline. And third topic is about theory first, TF versus empirics first approach. So in marketing research, we normally business research, we strongly emphasize the theory. The theory first, you have like a literature review and then research gap and hypothesis and collecting primary data and test them and you discuss the implications. That's a usual approach. And then nowadays, because of some data and then techniques, empirics first approach kind of coming up. Now, how can it combine together? So that's why fourth topic about how we combine empirical and experimental studies together. And then I'm trying to share my current research topics. If time's allowed, I have my one working paper, but it depends on time availability. So Simon, that's my English name. My Korean name is kind of hard to pronounce. So I use Simon. I lost my Korean name. So empirics and interdisciplinary. So myself, when you look at my learning, like a first degree, actually I studied like 한국외국어대학교. It's just nearby Gyeonggi University. I mean, Gyeonggi is great, beautiful campus, and where there is kind of small, tiny like high school campus. So I used
Sometimes
to go to
we say the Hanguk weather is our toilet.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gyeonggi
That's
University.
what I heard. Yeah, that's what I know. I used to go to Gyeonggi to have lunch and take a look at the cherry blossom. I still remember.
It's a
So
high time to sightseeing the cherry blossom in my campus
yeah,
right this time.
yeah. I just envy. I mean, kind of jealous about Gyeonggi campus. So I study economics. I got the degree in 1998, and then I straight go to my the company. That was 1998, like February. That was SK Telecom. There I started my first career, and then worked. After that, company sponsored me to go to I study first MSc degree, technology management. That's a SUNY Stony Brook 1 year program. That's 2002, and then continue to study and work. And then again, 2008, I went to Peking University. That's a Chinese MBA. Actually, I speak Chinese.
Oh,
What's Chinese
ni
MBA?
hao.
Not English at all Chinese. And then first year MBA, I thinking about my career and maybe it's time to further study some doctorate program. So was Tsinghua Grenoble joint program, Tsinghua University.
Oh,
So I
I see.
started my the part-time actually degree, and then I finished my like doctorate 2014, and then I left the industry, the company actually. So
Mm.
I was SK Telecom, SK Planet, and then okay, maybe let's get out of this kind of industry. So first I was in Turkey, at 2014, 1 year there, was a 1 year vacation, and then continued to move to France, ran school of business. There 2.5 years there, and then since 2018, I'm in Cardiff, UK. So yeah, pretty much when you look at myself, I'm more like a company ground, I'm based, industry based, and then interdisciplinary. I did my some economics, some technical management, and the marketing, and then now tourism, little bit tourism. So it's kind of multidisciplinary, my background. Now, so regarding my research, so I'm more like empirical data investigator. So when I started my first, PhD, that was because I was working, and then my boss allowed me to work on some end market data. There's like Google Play Store, Apple App Store. Then one store is SK Telecom end market. It's not really active, but I got some mobile game usage data. So I started my first research in the area of digital marketing, like using mobile game app usage. And then I try to publish some papers in terms of like 4P mix, product, pricing, and some kind of communication, online reviews. And then I actually got to know another mobile app, exercise app provider called Tranger. And then now I look at some 1 million kind of location data. And then I start to work with Jinwon Kim. I mean, Jinwon, Professor Kim, I met him in Turkey when I left. And then Jinwon Kim just joined that university. So we had a kind of 1 month talk together. And then we had a kind of really, kind of radical idea about how we can combine geography and the business together. That was our talk. Since then, we have published quite a lot of papers together using if there's some location data, and I bring some business idea problems across different marketing and then sometimes information systems or tourism. So special marketing, I call it because I'm not a geographer. So that's a special marketing. And then, sorry. So it's a 3 or 4, and then I have talked with Jinwon Kim, and then hotel data, STR, and the Airbnb, mostly like Florida. So I never been to Florida, but I'm a Florida expert now because I'm using Airbnb data there. We published quite a lot of papers, around like more than 5. And also recently, so one of my SK colleagues, now he's running his own company in Korea. So online travel agency transfers data here. Now digging their data. And then recently, I'm using UK level charity donation and health social care reviews. So nowadays, I look at more, how can I contribute to society or world through my research? So market analysis for better society is kind of my current topics. So when you look at bottom here, So I like this quote very much. So this person is an economist, and then Ronald Coase, and he said like this quote: "If you torture data long enough, it will confess to anything." I think I still valid. I just looking at this one with data. I spent so many years again and again, and you look at it again, and you can find some really interesting variable and find out related theory and make a story. So don't give up, and then spend your time and looking at some really nice data. Also, you have to collect really good variables at the beginning, and then you can find more topics. So at the bottom here, I try to explore some real data to address stakeholder-related research problems and then connect it relevant theories to explain findings. But I have a lot of challenges from reviewers and editors. So weak theoretical reasoning or lack of required construct variables. So again, there's kind of a lot of struggling, but still there's a uniqueness of real world data. So myself here, okay, I start with data first, different types of data. It can be individual, people, product, company, place, numeric, text, location, secondary, primary, combined. And then analysts coming in. And then this is my area, digital marketing, new phenomenon, and then better market for a better world. And then check some literature about theory and then practical implications. So what is the real world data? I mean, this is based on US Food and Drug Administration. So data relating to patient health status. So it's about output. When you get any kind of data, what is the kind of output? Okay. And then the deliver healthcare is about input. What are your decisions, input, campaigns, any kind of input data? Routinely, it's about historical, longitudinal, collected from variety of sources, can be combined data. So in marketing business settings, digital innovations enable managers to track, access real data from smartphones, wearables, mobile apps, and robots. So these are kind of good source. And consumer behaviors, decisions, response to firm activities are observed, monitored through data tools, again, digitally connected. And firm activities, especially online activities, can be recorded on a real-time basis. And local communities can use these data to develop decision support tools for policy decisions. And product developers can use real data to support trial design, A/B testing, and observation studies to conduct innovative new product development. So when you look at certain trend and then phenomena, and then you get to know some companies, whether their data is kind of good enough in terms of like number of different cases. So I like a consumer level data. If you look at one company level data, you have to look at more archival data or some product level data. So if you working on like hotel level data, then you have to go to STR and then Airbnb, like AirDNA. But if you work on some kind of traveler or tourist level data, and then you can actually work in hotels, hotel have their transactions, and there are a lot of loyalty programs, their campaigns, then there can be another kind of travel-related research. So here, I mean, it's kind of textbook kind of stuff. So combination of multiple data sources, descriptive, cross-sectional, longitudinal, and causal. Nowadays, causal is quite getting important. So lab field experiment, primary data, or we do quasi-experiment from secondary data, longitudinal, and find out really interesting treatment or intervention. And then naturally we can divide into control and treatment group. That's quasi-experiment. And then natural experiment, again, secondary. Exploratory, text, image, audio, video, and a method like observation, etc. So here, when you look at right side, so different types of data, I try to look at the visitor level data, transaction, obviously, and location, and also offline and online behaviors. And nowadays, I actually working on call center data. I mean, call center agent customer conversation is kind of black box. And then after this phone call, some people continue to do some choice, yes or no. And then we're trying to dig in what kind of factors actually predicts those kinds of success. That's the reason I could work with the charity. Yeah. So universal analysis here can be different. So people, product, place, and physical environment here. So make sure that when you have a data, what kind of component you have. Yeah, that's first step. Now, I moved to more backward research approach. So it's more close collaboration between myself and the data and managers. So how the result will be used. So before you start any project, think about this kind of expected outcome image. So your problem, solution matching, audience, and contribution. So is this topic problem relevant or important? And then, okay, you can check literature review and observations, important, conversation with the managers, industry articles, and data. So normally I check some economists in Wall Street Journal or can try to check whether this kind of ongoing debate in the industry. So that's how you can get ideas for your managerial implication or make it more impactful at the beginning in introduction in the first paragraph. So then your research is kind of relevant rather than just simply based on literature. And then you just clarify your selling point, positioning, outline, and then you go for the next step. So more like a backward approach, kind of important before you start. So my strategy is more now the open innovation. Like as a PhD student, you start from like a pure exploitation, like your idea and method should be based on you. But now, because I'm become more mid-level researcher, I try to leverage my ideation competence and then also leverage my methodology competence and sometimes purely explore new idea method. So for collaborative project, I focus mainly on ideation, data, and storyline. And then I work some kind of advanced quantum modelers together. So if I just introduce one my successful kind of story, it's a bit old story. So rich data matters. So using one sort of mobile access app data, I've written off papers 7 published, 1 working with different problems, theories, and methods. So that's like 2012 and 2013, 2015, 3-year data from Triangle like from 11,000 users and then 1 million transactions. I mean, exercise like tracking data. And I wrote the first JBI paper. It's quite a big citation for my Google Scholar. So gamification and behavior engagement. Yeah, about purchase exercise. So that's about more marketing perspective. And then I moved to the next one, more like working with Prof. Kim, Jinwon Kim, about spatial temporal visitation patterns, Soraksan, like JPRA, sustainability, and then some gamification in the exercise travel, recent conceptual term, and TM and CIT. And then sales promotion and post-purchase exercise and purchase, that's information technology and people. And then last year, city level gamification and economic outcome, that's tourism economics special issue. And now I'm working on some public park opening in Busan, and then also other like consumer shopping, exercise behavior using quasi experiment about health policy. So here, this data itself, raw data doesn't tell anything. Actually, I bring a lot of ideas and then discussion, and then we actually extract a lot of, papers from here. That's kind of one success story here. Yeah, that's about the first, paper and JBR, and then these are kind of, one, and then TM, and also recent, CIT, ITP, and last year TE, yeah. I mean, I don't want to kind of show off, but how I actually get idea, how you send your paper, like my recent paper about, Hanna and then Jinwan, about special competition peer-to-peer comes price. So it's a competitive pricing in special context. It's kind of new selling point. So competition is kind of a B2B kind of marketing kind of concept. It's well known. Now, competition, how about pricing, right? Rather than revenue, and also special. So that's kind of good topic for this one. And second one, IJHM is working with my PhD, visiting PhD students. It's about crowdfunding, but equity crowdfunding. A lot of them is reward based. Now, equity is kind of not known, but China very popular in equity based crowdfunding rather than reward based crowdfunding. There was one good paper. And then also that tourism economics, it's a regional gamification. Normally they look at individual level. Now, how about kind of regional level? But a bit like, try to make a story is quite challenging. But again, look at more regional basis. And then, gamification, smart exercise travel. I mean, it's a new conceptual piece. Like, smart exercise travel is kind of smart technology, like, and then exercise, like leisure exercise and travel. So kind of three components together, a conceptual paper. And also another one, COVID period, we combine with the tourism clusters and resilience together. That's another JBR. And then also gamify the behavior engagement. So normally engage more like cognitive, emotional, now getting behavior. So there was a TM. Yeah. And then another CSIR, with Isoki, yeah. And then so CSR, and then also employee voice, that's dependent, that's a unique one. So dependent employee voice are reviews. We're using Indeed.com reviews about reviews, and then the tourism context. And XO is about COVID, and then experiment, and then also JTR. That's my first JTR paper about intercity ride sharing. Normally Uber like more inner city, intra-city kind of travel. But now we use BlaBlaCar, it's a French like mobile app. They go Paris and Nantes, Paris and Marseille, like intercity travel context. So I invited Kevin So, and then we actually published in JTR. And then another one, Jang he was a PhD student in Dongguk University, and then we used a field experiment in a bakery setting, and then we couldn't make it in marketing journal, so we end up in IJHM. And next one is about spatial experiment analysis, working with Jung Kim, because he is very good at the experiment, and we combine with spatial and experiment together. So it's kind of one pioneering paper. We try to push this direction. I mean, nowadays. So it's quite interesting to actually combine spatial and experiment together, how people are actually influenced by the built environment. You know, I'm from like a rural country, rural areas, and then you're still kind of influenced by those environments rather than urban, areas. And then one, yes, it's a spatial company resilience with the Jinong Kim and their colleagues. And then, that one just twin cluster and the peer-to-peer accommodation is quite a good paper together. And then spatial towards cluster and Airbnb. And then also, Jinong Kim, like a JBR, spatial hedonic room pricing is kind of another one. And the next one is about, that's 2019, because I worked in Turkey, and then because the university was founded by luxury hotel. So we got data from this Turkish luxury hotel, and then transit data, and then online reviews. There's IGH, the first my IGH paper. And finally, another, park and recreation. And then food access and public policy is a very risky revision, JPPM. That's good journal, AMA, good journal. So we combine this food policy with a spatial approach together. And then on 2018, that's, gamification, still highly cited paper, JBR, and then sustainability and JBR. That's the first paper, innovation and spatial, that with Jinong. Sorry about my kind of show off.
Wow, it's a fantastic result, and I'm feel pretty much jealousy of your achievement. So such a human.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of my whole research journey so far.
Okay.
And then I still
I want
remember.
to ask you
Please go
of
ahead.
your research outcomes is pretty much a top tier journals, all of your publications. And you said you're using real time based, real based data. It's quite difficult analyze it and combine to the research context. That's why I think your teams, Jinon, and can be able to publish it at the top tier level journals, not like other, the survey-based researchers. In this classroom, pretty much the master degree and post doctoral degree, they are not familiar with the real-time or real-based data from our College of Hotel and Hospitality programs. So just can you simply recommend how they can be able to approach at very first initial stage to attempt the real data and the research context? What kind of a method and the skills we should starting to learn?
Yes. First of all, we need to find a really strong partner, industry partner. I mean, they are willing to collaborate in terms of data support, and then they are kind of expect something like from academic research. So normally, if I analyze some data, I try to present a professional presentation to the managers. That's what I already found. Maybe it's useful for you. And then, and I promised them, okay, I'm going to share all the findings with the managers. But before you actually contact any company, you need to check what kind of data they can actually have. And then, what kind of variables can we actually expect from their database. So then it should be kind of early kind of emerging phenomena rather than kind of established kind of phenomena. Because you spend so much time to collect and clean the data. And then by the time you try to work on some paper, it's really boring topic. And then it's like a gambling. You spend 1 or 2 years. Now it's kind of not really promising or it's not interesting. So last year, actually, I visited, when I went to Korea, because I have a personal connection. So one of my senior colleagues now, he was CEO of a Joseon Hotel. And then I had a chat with him like for 1.5 hours, tea time together. He was busy. And then I was interested in robots. So Joseon Hotel, you have some hotel chain in Korea.
Mm.
So do you have robots? Yes, because I look at the neighbor like a newspaper and saw that okay, robots is walking around in Joseon Hotel, and then okay, maybe I can try to collect some robot related data in Joseon Hotel. Now, what kind of people how respond to those kind of service? And then when I talked with him, he said, okay, we used to have a robot in the lobby. Now people are scared of the robot. So that now they own like, now there's clean dishes in the kitchen. There's no robot in the floor. They're all like, kitchens because they're working for washing dishes. Then, okay, forget about this one. Maybe it's interesting to look at robot related data and how the guests and consumers respond. Now the data is now available, and maybe it's not really good to work on. It's not realistic, so forget about that one. So, like I try to keep an eye on some neighbor and news articles, what's going on, and now it's Gen AI is kind of key, hot topic. So maybe if you come to know any company using AI applications or Gen AI applications, and then with consumer responses or consumer choices and transactions, maybe that kind of promising data and maybe travel content can be OTA or kind of hotels, whatever, any tourism context, but it could be in general. Yeah. Even like a bakery, like a franchise. But the thing is, you need to talk with you. Actually, you have some preparation, good preparation. Once you ask some data kind of extraction, once you provide the data set, they don't want to go back to work it again because they are quite busy. So then I just try think about what are the possible kind of variables from the database and what kind of historic research question I can work on. So I think a lot and then prepare a lot. It can be 6 months, 1 year, just prepare something before I go to Korea and then have a meeting before I just submit a proposal, really professional proposal, and how can bring a benefit for you and to me. And then we talk about the details with the CEO and then managers together. Now, the thing is, we need the CEO approval. So mid management, there's no power to share the data because it's confidential. So yeah, it's important to get senior kind of level of like executive, and then also you get to know about details, and then have some conversation. But I fail a lot. I tried a lot, and it took time, sometimes 1 year or 3 years. But I don't really give up. Just okay, continue to say hello, and then yeah.
So at least at this moment and at this era, and AI and real-time data and real data, those kind of combined data are really, really effective to do research and very necessary for us to publish it at the top tier level, and
Yeah.
also get a job by hands-on experience data analytics. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Goodbye.
Yeah. Should we move? Carry on?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Still, however, I have paid to publish some paper in top tier marketing journals. What's wrong with my research method? Where should I go? I review the top scholars' recent suggestion. Want to share some food for thought with you. And then it's data-driven approach. So you may not agree with some content. It's okay, but we can have constructive discussion later. Yeah. Okay. So how to craft a high-quality manuscript? Okay. Now, so it's about marketing research, but it's like a US-driven kind of, it's the institution. So at the beginning, idea quality is important, and then the method was descriptive, was fine. But early 1960s, now because of Ford and Carnegie foundations, but they sponsor money, and then they go more analytical quantity, more scientific. Yeah. So that's why, MBA, PhD training, economics, stats, operating research, psychology, sociology, they become a kind of mainstream discipline. So more emphasis on hiring technically competent faculty, like methodological sophistication, less rely on idea quality. Still, U.S. University, they focus on methodology. But however, so idea quality matters. That is, okay, one of the important. So a better approach is to begin with an important problem and then bring it to the best combination of methodology, data, and theory. So when I was doing my PhD, that was 2010 or 2011. Actually, my mentor is Jang, the professor of marketing in Seogang University. But he did the PhD in Cornell, and he supervises Vidala Rao. And then there's a quant kind of researcher and Bayesian researcher. And then the Vidala Rao, he's like around 80 at the moment, still working. He came to Seogang for his sabbatical, and I had a chance to talk with him for 1 hour. It's a big honor. 1 hour with Vidala Rao and myself. And I was a second year PhD student. And I was talking about, so what can I do for my research? And he said, this one, research problem is the most important thing. The problem should be important. Now, I didn't know that by the time. Whoa, what is important? How they measure importance? I don't know. I think it's important, but still valid. So important problem, and the next follows. So this is tricky because if you work on data, secondary data, then what is the problem? So you have to actually look at together problem and data together. And does he provide good problems? Yes. If it's no, then second year, third year journal. So this still is valid. And then the GEMS is Journal of Academic Marketing Science. It's FT45 journal. It's top tier marketing journal. And Paul Mathieu is Washington, marketing professor. And then he was a GEMS editor, and he talked about this kind. It's very useful here. So one manuscript is really interesting. So make an introduction, a powerful overview of the paper's positioning and contribution to motivate readers to invest time in reading the rest of the paper. So there's the journal called AMJ, Academy of Management Journal. It's top tier, really top of top management journal. And there's the editorial like 10 years ago. And then in order to go to top tier journal, and then they look at introduction, literature review, methodology, data analysis, and then contribution, the different components, right? And then they ask the researchers, so how much percentage of time spent on introduction? Now, top tier journal, 30%, sometimes 40% of time in introduction. To me, it's ridiculous. I mean, introduction is kind of simple. But now, this is the most important part in top tier journal. Because of poor introduction, you got desk rejected. So, yeah, you work on everything. You come back again, introduction again, read it again, polish it again, many times. People submit to any good journal, decent journal. And the second one include a well-structured literature review table. I mean, this is my habit. I mean, in marketing, we create a literature review table. In tourism, sometimes you don't need it, but I just bring in, those kind of prior literature about dependent variable, independent variable, model, mediator, methodology, and findings. And then from literature review, we have to sell our paper. What is our contribution? So when you do this kind of literature review table, things are getting clear. What is my contribution? So clarify the paper incremental contribution, relatively extend the research. And third step is quite important. Ensure some tension in the conceptual model. So it's tricky here. So what is tension here? In the conceptual model, you have an independent variable, dependent variable, moderate mediator, and then things are all obvious. It's boring. At least you bring really interesting, unique, or any kind of promising variable. It can be independent, can be dependent, can be moderator or mediator. So you need certain tension. Okay, previously it's already established. Now you're going to propose new kind of contribution, and then there's a tension here. So avoid some overly simplistic arguments. And also theoretically derived managerially controllable moderators. GEMS, they love moderators. So now the moderator should be theoretically driven. That's quite challenging, but it's good, very good. And then it has a very actionable kind of insights from moderators.
Here's my question. Why did James stress the importance of the moderator at this time?
Yeah, good question. Because GEMS is called marketing strategy journal. Strategy journal. So that's why normal independent dependent variable is based on theory. But moderator is conceptual factors, dependent contingency, different contingencies, it works differently. So then they can
matching the phenomenon with the theory,
Copying everything.
right?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. My question,
Good, yeah.
you said, the independent and dependent variable, which is a primary, hypothesis, and which is already proven,
Yes.
by theoretical framework.
Yeah.
Until now, the moderator is not like, the theoretical driven, but rather we are look into for the phenomenon and the contextual based.
Yeah.
That's the kind of we can find out from the moderating effect.
That's right. But sometimes your independent dependent variable, you have some kind of theory there, and it's called overarching theory.
Yes.
And then you can stretch a little bit about to actually draw moderators rather than something else.
Okay.
So maybe then, there are some kind of application extensions about overarching theory, recent applications about some other additional kind of thought about kind of contextual kind of situation. Then we can bring in moderate kind of smoothly, and then we can actually bring more insight for
well, this is a great learning from you about how, why, and moderating should be importantly considered in the context of the introduction.
That's right. Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. And then devote extra effort to ensuring the data and method are robust enough to prevent paper confusion from being discounted. So here, so we actually bring some more the additional kind of, data should be like robust, multiple source of data would be good. And 6, consider adding a complementary study or new data to achieve sufficient control of the publication. So we have there are multiple studies in top journal, and then you have another studies and try to support our contribution or new data sometimes. And then 7, ensure that the paper looks, sounds, and feels like all the recent paper in the target journal. Yeah, it's quite, it's good, but sometimes it's quite challenging because you target towards the management, and then you check all the literature there, and then your writing style, tones, like to TM like paper, it's good. So it's good to decide targets earlier, and that's how you can work on or the literature review and the writing together. And use sufficient high quality figures, tables, and graphics to aid the reader understand the key messages. So visualization, and make construct, headings, hypotheses consistent throughout the paper. Oh, this is another important thing. Sometimes you use different terms interchangeably, but it's important to have a certain construct terminology consistently across the paper. Yeah, that's about the Journal of Substance Research editor. And then he talk about this kind of new context, new phenomena, emerging area. And then that's good to find out some research problem. That's JSR editors kind of recommendation. Yeah. Okay. So once you start any project, it's obvious. Is it new context, new phenomena, or is it emerging area? Yeah. Now, shall we move some kind of theory first and empirics first kind of situation here? Yeah. So recently, top journals emphasize importance of infusing real-world perspective into research and using multiple data sources. Journal Marketing, that's 2023, and then JCR, Journal of Consumer Research, and JCP, Journal of Consumer Psychology, and even SMJ, Strategy Management Journal. They're all top tier journals. And then now they are focused, okay, we need the multi-source of data, meaning we need to incorporate real world data here. And these are some papers that I can share with you. You can check those like papers. Yeah. And then one like JM associate editor, Van Herdy, and then JM encourages research to infuse ecological value into academic marketing research. So here, like JM various marketing problems experienced by key stakeholders stay close to the real world of marketing and natural habitats of marketing, market ecosystems, and the marketplace. Like in the tourism habitat, the tourism marketing, tourism ecosystem could be some application. So what is the EV, ecological value? This is a degree to which research reflects marketing as it exists and evolves among marketing stakeholders and market ecosystems. So this kind of more realistic kind of approach here. So how? Capturing data that reflect the reality of the marketplace. So again, they emphasize the data and using models and metrics that offer a more transparent view of the impact of our findings. So whether sales increased or behaviors, or tourist behavior changes or not. And then what about lives saved? So look at more like impact. And then how we can do that? Using real data rather than hypothetical kind of, primary data. So they go like ecological value, reality check. It's number one. Have you looked at the real world of marketing or real world of tourism, not just the literature or for ideas? So most PhD students are often advised to read the literature in a certain domain to check what is already out there and to come up with new research ideas. But this task is very overwhelming. You have to read a lot. And sometimes demotivating. So leading to incremental research ideas. So try to target more insightful EV, avoid so what question from editors. So you write all the paper based on literature review, theory, hypothesis, and collect data, test it, and they say, so what? Nothing happened in real world. Then that's kind of problem. Yeah. So again, so we need to check, some real world phenomena. Yeah. And reality check number 2, do you capture current views and practices about your topic in an unfiltered manner? So located organizations or press sources, they identify the problems, tourism marketing problems. So deep dive into with the marketing stakeholders or tourism stakeholders, how they manage their loyalty programs, why most loyalty programs fail, should I get rid of my loyalty programs? So it's good to talk with industry kind of stakeholders. What are their concerns? What do they talk about tourism kind of business management? And listen carefully, suspend your theoretical brains and simply listen to what is said, like qualitative research. So it's important to listen to what they are talking about, like companies or kind of industry articles, like press sources. Yeah. And then which marketing stakeholder is the audience for your research? So once you determine real-world marketing problem, select target audience for your research. Rather than targeting reviewers or editors, select a real-world stakeholder. Even though we have to consider reviewers, it can be a manager or consumer traveler or policymaker. So mental prototyping and visualizing different possible outcomes to try on different research questions to determine their value. So you can check this article for more reality check suggestions here. Okay. Now, theory first, as I mentioned, like from literature review, you build a hypothesis and moderator, mediators, and then clean supportive primary data and theory and practical implications. That's what we are doing. Normal research that you do this kind of process. Now, in first research, we look at real-world marketing phenomena, or problem, or observation. And then we obtain some and analyzing data. And then we have to bring some market relevant insights, and we talk about theoretical implications. But still, hypothesizing after results are known. I mean, this is really tricky thing. So, I mean, here, normally we get the result, and then now we are confident, we start writing our paper. So still, I mean, yeah, this kind of debate on, hacking. Is it good or not?
Okay, you based on your research experience so far,
Yeah.
if you attempt to real world data in advance,
Mm.
probably you should bring the suitable theory
Yeah.
uh, for matching the empirical findings
Yes.
and embracing that theoretical, framework.
Yes.
Uh, that that can be, acceptable to the journal articles.
Yes.
So,
Right.
what do you think about? Probably you have a lot of the review comment about those kind of points by
Yeah.
reviewers.
That's
What
right. Yeah.
about the theory? What about theory? What about
Yeah.
theory?
Good, really good comment. Yeah, yeah. That's reality. If
Uh,
there's no theoretic contribution, you cannot get through any review process. And
yes.
there's no contribution at all from
Uh,
theory perspective.
uh,
So that's why at least we need to check the literature is
uh,
connected with the research findings.
uh,
Even though you cannot contribute a lot in theory, but
uh,
still, what are kind of ongoing debates
uh,
about this research finding question? And
uh,
then it's good to have more controversial kind
yes.
of topic. It
Yes.
can be positive or
Uh,
negative.
uh,
And then we bring the real data. I think
uh,
it's a positive,
uh,
but depending on different moderate, it can be negative.
uh,
Then we can better explain why people
yes.
are arguing about this kind of relationship. So
Yes. Right.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So a
So
lot of these days, current researchers are using secondhand data and the text-based data,
mhm.
and those kind of real-world data actually reflect the very well phenomenon
Yes,
and the truth, not true, anyway, fact. But however,
yes,
research and journal, business, they want authors for proving the theoretical driven and
yes,
the phenomenon, uh, the, the fact.
yes.
So that's kind of a, crafting business
Yeah,
to
yeah.
to finding the theoretical value and the empirical value. It's
Yes.
kind of crafting
Yeah,
business.
yeah. So we do a lot of discussion with the co-authors about this
Uh,
what is theory contribution,
uh,
or what value it is. Is it right measurement? What does it
uh,
mean by these real world variables? What is
uh,
kind of conceptual, I mean, concept like
uh,
construct? So,
uh,
and then it can be proxy because
uh,
it's not clean data.
uh,
It's not primary data. So
uh,
it can be proxy for certain novelty seekings. For
uh,
example, I'm talking with, I will explain later on. I'm talking about some, if you book hotels in an OTA trip, what is the, your, sorry, what is the OTA platform? In
TripAdvisor,
pardon, sorry.
TripAdvisor,
So in Korea, it's, uh,
Korea.
yeah,
Uh,
숙박 앱.
uh, is Yanolja.
야놀자, yeah, kind of
Uh,
야놀자. If
mhm,
you book hotel 야놀자 and then book like 10 times for
mhm,
last 1 year,
mhm,
and then so 10 times is same city, same place, or
mhm,
10 times all different cities.
mhm,
Like then if they go 10 times, different city can be Busan,
mhm,
Daegu, or Jeju, or
mhm,
Sokcho,
mhm,
then is it like a novelty seeking or
mhm,
variety seeking? So we're
mhm,
trying to measure if
mhm,
you go to only go Daegu only,
mhm,
Daegu, maybe then it's not novelty seeking or variety
mhm,
seeking. So we're talking about is it novelty or variety seeking?
mhm,
But we measure this one and then yeah, and then we go back to original definition about novelty seeking and variety seeking,
mhm,
and then what is more close to our measurement. So
mhm,
we need certain discussion about the real world variables, and then theoretical kind of conceptual or construct, and then we confirm it. And then we go back some literature about this relationship, any previous kind of debate about this kind of relationship. But it takes a lot of time. But once you set up, if you're lucky, then okay, good variables, and then good theory, and you're happy. If you don't find it, still reviews challenge a lot because your story is more like a data-driven kind of research. There's no theoretical kind of contribution.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So why EF? I mean, now it's novel data, online behavior, longitudinal or panel data, new method, web scraping, and then also so many variables and machine learning can actually find out certain patterns. And then developing outside of marketing, so better market for better world, climate change, disinformation, consumer autonomy, yeah, like that. So these are kind of some table about theory development. TF is a primary focus, but EF more one of several potential outcomes. And the research focus, more hypothesized outcomes. And then EF is more exploration minded. And research process, TF is linear. You have literature, theory, hypothesis, and data collection. Now, EF iterative. You look at the data, come back to literature, theory, look at data again, very iterative. Literature review and provide storyline, hypothesis. And then for EF, provide insight or inspiration. And then explanation, more focused. And the EF, multiple angles. And data collection, test theory, hypothesis. And then we try to understand focal phenomena. And data analysis, it's interesting. Assess statistical support, p-value. Is it significant, not significant? Now, EF, we document empirical outcomes, including null result. Sometimes, if it's not significant, I report it because it may be possible because the positive negative relation together. That's why the average relation is kind of nothing. Then maybe it can be a good, interesting outcomes. So normally we report no results in the paper. Failure in robustness check, reduce confidence in assertion, and then maybe in EF we view as a learning opportunities. So a bit different approach over here.
Wow.
So
Once again, can you back to slide?
Yeah.
This slide and this table is really, really significant and valuable to the authors. Probably here in the students may not know how much this table has values, but like me, someone who has experience about research and theoretical based and empirical based, this is quite good, well organized, the comparison about the each dimension of the fact.
Yeah.
It's great. Wow.
Yeah. Actually, it's not it's a Golder's kind of paper, but I try to summarize.
So where'd you get this one? Golder?
Yeah, Golder, yeah, the journal marketing paper. So
I see. But anyway,
you have to read this paper. It's good, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Wow.
So again,
anyway, you got the you got real experience from your research when you're doing empirical research by yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. So I do more empirical research, and then I did like this situation. So that's a lot of. It's not messy. It's kind of linearly clean. We go data and variables, data, story, literature, and then finally we set. Okay, this is kind of nice, and then we quickly make a write-ups, paper.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. That's why your explanation now is so powerful. I can feel it because you got proven yourself by yourself based on your research publication and the database approach.
Thank you. So again, that paper again. So it's worthwhile to read this paper. So there are certain kind of stages and strategies. So literature at the bottom, we check literature all the time. And then first stage, we look at emergent phenomena and then some novel data source and some conflict between literature and real data. It's quite good. If you find conflicts, it's very, very, it's good. Its chances are way high. And consequence DVs and actions IVs. and then open-ended research questions, unique new data set, and listen to the data, like torture data. Just look at data, and then find some causality, moderators, and defeats, and insightful results. And the empirical regularities, so even more like generalized findings, even though you work on one source of data, one case, and try to generalize, and then some theoretical insights, and managerial consumer advice, and policy implications. But again, literature is the bottom altogether. We check it, okay, in every stages. So this is kind of suitable situation when theory is in short supply, and then when the literature is equivocal, so multiple interpretation is good. And then intuition leads to multiple conflict outcomes, and observation not aligned with theoretical predictions. And then empirical findings are scant, and rich and newly emerged data can prove unexamined relationships. So these are perfect situation. Go for this empirical research. And also, like the Journal of Consumer Psychology, JCP, they talk about this kind of approach. It's called abductive reasoning. Typically begins with incomplete set of observations and proceed to the likeliest possible explanation for the set. So like they talk pragmatism. So data and theory are inseparable. And knowledge should be locally actionable. And data irregularities, it's not clean, but it can be potential explanations. So database knowledge should inform original theory. So this very early stage, very theory-driven kind of community, JCP, now they are talking about data. So probably it can be a big trend in the future. Yeah. So again, identify research opportunities. And then I will provide some examples. And then now hypothesis generation. So explanation for incongruent or unexpected effect. And intervention is non-homogeneous subject populations. And the observation, causal and consequential studies. And then multiverse, like a data analysis, like a covariate mediator dependent variables. And then the expected and surprising result. I think this is important. So in your result, something expected and others surprising. I don't know the really golden rule about ratio, but I would say like 70, 80% are expected and 20, 30% something new. Yeah, that's kind of good. I think good paper. Yeah. Rather than everything's expected. Then what is your contribution? It's boring. So everything's surprising. Then, oh, I don't like it. I'm not comfortable with this kind of all surprising findings.
Prof. Jang,
Yeah.
the back to slide, previous slide, that, yes, this one.
Yeah.
Like deductive, abductive, and
then
actually, please, once again, I want to see the research paradigm table.
So, I mean, the original table, right? Or maybe
go back to once again. No. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, inductive.
Yes. Actually, those two types of research approach and methodology approach, deductive and inductive, is quite the well-known approach.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
People using a lot deductive, inductive, something like that. And however, the abductive is quite not common in a sense.
Not common.
And the people are afraid to use abductive methodology for their research. But these days, a lot of people using mixed method approach.
That's right.
If you say so, mixed method approach, we can say that abductive or something sort of mixed deductive and inductive together. What do you think? For example, my case, I use also the data-driven paper, and I analyze it like for example, TripAdvisor data.
Yeah.
I collecting data by text mining, and I are collecting 500,000 the observation from New York City, and that is prob inductive case,
Yeah.
and then I tried to matching that with theoretical lens,
Hmm.
that is somewhat the deductive case,
Yeah.
and I should proven their why and motivation and causality. So in this case, I put more like a experimental design
Hmm.
to reflect the motivation
Yeah.
and that data result.
Yes.
And then we can say that is a mixed method approach.
Yes. Yeah.
But
I think that that's really great approach. Uh, if you start with the data first, exploratory way, and
mhm,
then do text mining, find out some interesting variable constructs. I
mhm,
mean, there's one recent Journal of Consumer Research paper,
mhm,
and it's about Airbnb host motivation.
mhm,
And there are already a lot of papers about host motivation papers.
mhm,
Now, in that paper, they still use this kind of interview data and then
mhm,
find out the construct. But
mhm,
some construct is not suggested by previous literature.
mhm,
So then now for this, like from this study, they can suggest more like this more like comprehensive kind of set of motivation,
mhm,
including previous literature, and then
mhm,
our finding here.
mhm.
Based on this one, they actually build up some hypotheses
Okay.
and then collect some primary data.
Mhm,
So then if you do mixed method, sometimes it's kind of challenging because some reviewers, they like it, they like it. Some
mhm.
reviewers, oh, it's confusing. So
Okay.
then I'm still working on another paper about mixed method, like
Okay.
interviews and kind of secondary survey data. And
Uh-huh.
what are the kind of contribution roles of each study?
Uh-huh.
How can it connect them more
Uh-huh.
seamlessly?
Uh-huh.
And if it makes sense, some contribution from exploratory study,
Uh-huh.
and then try to come up with kind of what are the kind of key variables,
Uh-huh.
and then discuss about previous literature and our findings,
Mhm,
and try to suggest this kind of our new set of kind of variables, and
mhm,
then do some experiment or kind
mhm.
of next study. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't have a that solid kind of experience. Maybe still try.
We are researcher, search and search.
Yeah, yes.
Researcher.
Yes. Yeah.
Researcher.
Thank you for great comment and question. Yeah. Hopefully others they try to catch up or understand.
Okay.
But you can go back later. I mean, you can take a look and the papers. It's very helpful.
Yes.
I think it's my suggestion. Yeah.
At least our students are right now got this knowledge of the three different types of methodology we
Yeah.
have, and then deductive, inductive, abductive.
Yeah.
Probably you can finding out this keyword from the Google search and the
Yeah.
YouTube
That's right.
channels or whatever, um, and then get these three keywords into
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
knowledge. Mm.
So strongly suggest students they download this paper and read it. This Journal of Consumer Psychology, that's top
Yes.
journal. And then it's a methodology paper. It's good to know,
Mhm.
deductive, inductive, and then what is abductive?
Okay. I see.
Um,
I see. Good. Thank you.
so then you can find more info from that paper. And then
Mhm.
also more examples.
Mhm.
Yeah. So some opportunity like no existing theory, like synergistic consumption. So when coordinated consumption, like eating meal with friends, is more valuable than isolated consumption.
Mhm.
Okay. One example. Now augmented consumption, right? Some VR, right? Or recreational drugs
Mhm.
and nutritional behavior. It's more
Mhm.
environmental plus social plus interpersonal and motivational. Okay. This kind of their suggestion. And inconsistent with the existing theory, resource valuation. So it's good to know, good to look at some different discipline about the research question. Economists and
Mhm.
psychologists,
Mhm.
resource theorists, or consumer researchers,
Mhm.
they have more different views. But this
Mhm.
is quite interesting topic.
Mhm.
So if you know you work on tourism research, you have
Mhm.
to bring in some economy kind of
Mhm.
literature or kind of consumer behavior researcher or
Mhm.
sociology. So and then some kind of debate. It's interesting. Yeah. And risky behavior. What factors encourage people to engage in diversification, mitigation, intensification of risky behaviors, like smoking? Yeah. And time, trade-offs, time is money versus time is not money. Time is space, experience, memory. So that's another kind of angle here. Now, theoretical ambiguity. So entertainment consumption. Do unique motivations increase or decrease over time with respect to specific genre of entertainment? Again, increase and decrease, kind of, it's not clear. And visual aesthetics, how people curate aesthetic environments. And anthropomorphism, this is really the hot topic nowadays. Okay. And conflict theory, hedonic consumption, is it impulsive behavior versus savoring? Expectation enhance or degrade our hedonic experience. Self-control, in which context self-control failure is useful or not useful. And prosocial behavior, a number of anomalies like incentives can increase or decrease the motivation to give, or status can increase or decrease. And is it extrinsic social reward or extrinsic material rewards? And more resources reduces prosocial behavior. That's my current research topic. So rich people donate more, or poor people donate more, but poor people have more empathy. And then also diversity also. That's one topic for my current research.
Actually, the question is like those two trade-off relationship. It's quite interesting and very,
That's right.
very intriguing, research proposition, impulsive or planned savoring, stuff, and self-control, useful, non-useful, and like a social reward, exchanging material reward, and so on. It's probably hearing graduate students, you should see this one, trade-off variables. Which cause people, choose this one, either A or B or A or B. Definitely, people are someone who are likely to choose, cognitive processing way or impulsive or emotional processing way, whatever. That's the interesting, question. And the suggestion, proposition. I guess. Yes.
So students, and like Professor Gu mentioned, like you have to look at very controversial, problematic and situation rather than very obvious, clean. No, it's boring. It's not really interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
Trade-off and contradictory, conflicting. This is good topic.
Yes. Right. I totally agree. Yes.
Yeah. And then here, it's a JCR, another top journal of consumer research. And the data richness, they talk about different sources of data. And then they look at past like lab experiment, observational data survey, field experiment, meta-analysis. And they see that the number of data sources, 1.48, and 40% of articles include multiple sources. Now, one data source does not work in top journals. So normally JCR, they look at only lab experiments, okay. Now they combine real world data, observational data together. And then this is increasing. So like field experiments increasing, and observational data, observational data, that's 2021. It's keep increasing. Keep increasing.
That's the field data. Field
data, yeah. Okay. Yeah, field data. Okay. So, observation data articles 16% now, 50%. It's a big increase. Yeah. Even JCR.
Okay.
So now, if we look at some more examples, prior studies in combined empirical and experiment data. Yeah, that's the, empirics plus experiments, example number one. That's JCR audio mining. The role of vocal tone in persuasion. So research question was how computers can predict an online persuasion attempts effectiveness based on vocal tone characteristics.
Mm.
So when you look at here, the conceptual model here, there is a current work. And then, the previous work like message characteristics, listener receiver characteristics, persuasive effectiveness, that's already step known. Now in this paper, they look at speaker source characteristics and then conceptual characteristics together. So persuasive medium is like previously more offline face-to-face. Now they look at online digital persuasion. And persuasive effectiveness, normally they measure perception intention, right? Now they use real-world consequential financial outcomes. Okay. And methods, large scale and computational mind versus manual labor intensive. And persuasion attempt factors, speaker characteristics, context, and mediation, rather than message and listener. So here, that's kind of how they combine different studies. So main prediction between independent dependent variable. Study
Mhm.
one uses audio mining technology to test the main prediction, vocal tones, and funding success. They work on music category first.
Mhm.
And then study two, they replicate again in technology category. So more like hedonic and utilitarian product category, it works same, robust.
Mhm.
And then move on study three, they do experiments and then just bring a mediator moderator, and study four replicates.
Mhm.
So this is JCR paper. I mean, now how you start with the empirical data first and then set up this kind of mediator moderator and do
Mhm.
experiments.
Mhm. You know,
So,
these days we are facing the AI and robot uh, the agent
yeah,
in the context of a hotel and
yeah.
restaurant, whatever. They
Mhm.
probably they are using the AI vocal tone for persuading and explaining to the consumers. In
Yeah,
that case, probably we can apply this framework to our
that's right.
hospitality industry, like a
Yeah,
focus, stress,
yeah,
extreme emotion.
yeah,
And people probably not like extreme emotion if the robot speak out too
yeah,
much extreme emotion.
yeah, that's right.
So, and this framework exactly apply for that context of robot AI. What do you
That's
think?
true. Yeah, I think it's promising. So this paper, like little technological kind, I mean, we're trying to analyze the audio mining, but
Mm-hmm,
in terms of tone, arousal, or
mm-hmm,
speed, if you
mm-hmm,
measure it,
mm-hmm,
and then this can be all variables.
mm-hmm,
Okay, that more technical part, and then also we can manipulate
mm-hmm,
kind of more appeal,
mm-hmm.
warmth,
Yes.
competence is
Mm-hmm.
kind of two contrasting, warm or competent, and it
Yes.
could be
Mm.
uh, some personality trait, big five.
Right. Right.
Then you do a lot of like experiment, and then you can measure the response. A lot
Right.
of papers coming up from
Mm.
those kind of stuff.
Because we are our major is the hospitality and the
The
hospitality
hospitality,
industry.
okay,
Hospitality providing something like a favorable moment
yeah,
by face, by tone, by
yeah,
voice, by
mhm,
image and gesture, something like
yeah,
that. So
yes,
we are already coming in the robotic and AI era. Probably people are considering much about the AI as a machine and human,
yeah,
but we are thinking about this kind of a phenomenon like a face, vocal tone, gesture, and emotion would be differently affect to the
yes, yes.
consumers and the travelers.
Hmm.
So probably here in this room, you should this paper read
Yeah,
definitely help you to understand and
yeah,
in this era. Uh-huh.
yeah. Yeah, it's worthwhile to read this paper and then learn a lot how can actually design, how can analyze the empirical data,
Uh-huh.
and then how can actually identify the variables
Uh-huh.
based on previous literature, and how can
Ac-
they actually create this
Actually, they
moderator.
suggest a plus and minus together
Yeah,
because
together.
they haven't they have not known
Yeah.
the fact aspect, the
Yeah.
negative and positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which means it's an early stage of study.
Yeah. So it's because sometimes the theory is not clear. It's not kind of one direction. And
Right.
then we can bring a research question or two contrasting hypotheses.
Uh-huh.
And then we have sufficient literature about this kind of positive negative kind of argument.
Right.
And then through our research, we can actually find out with the real world data what's positive, negative. And also we have moderator also together. So then it's kind of getting more interesting.
Right. Right. You said the importance of the moderating. That means here's moderating the extent of the simulation.
Yeah.
So probably in the context of a hotel or restaurant or museum, that's quite a different context. They're probably extent of a simulation would be differently influenced to that hypothesis.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you use like restaurant and the hotel, even though they are hospitality context, then how can we? It's more. It can be if their results are same and robust. If the things are different, then why could it be different setting? Restaurant is kind of short time kind of hospitality, but hotel is kind of you have to stay. It's longer kind temporary kind of context. Probably could it be another manipulation, but still check some literature. If the results are different, because restaurant is 3 hour, 4 hours only, or hotel is 1 night or 2 nights, and then they have different mindset, customer kind of attitude. Could it be another interesting? It depends on result again, more opportunistic.
Right.
Yeah. Great discussion. Thank you, Professor Gu. Yeah. It's kind of research meeting with you. Yeah, that's kind of you just mentioned about another JCR paper. It's a mining consumer minds. This is actually Airbnb host, but that's JCR paper. It's a consumer research. So downstream consequence of host motivations for home sharing platforms. And then here, the first step is about host intrinsic, extrinsic motivation and uncovering motivation through supervised machine learning and unsupervised machine learning. So do some with the text and do machine learning, I mean the topic modeling, and try to find out what are the motivations. And then next step, they have some impact of motivation, engagement, guest satisfaction, and then also firm profits. So they combine actually the primary data and then second data all together. So here they say multi-method approach, including text mining, Bayesian latent attribution models, and lab experiments to uncover consumer motivation and consequent role of their motivation for firms. So, and then I think the author has a really good connection with Airbnb because 2013, March and October 2014, it's from Airbnb website. And they ask one single question. Why did you stop posting? All right. And they collect data and do text mining, topic modeling, and find out there are 4 different topics. Earn cash, meet people, share beauty, and life circumstances. So now the thing is, there are so many papers about host motivation. These are more conceptual or borrow some other little theories. Now, real data, some of them, okay, match it. Maybe some of them, maybe share beauty, maybe new construct. And then I collect data from lab experiment, host engagement, number of words, number of photos, and pricing, and also sales or revenue-based CFV, customer lifetime value. I think this is fascinating because not only just primary data and then match with the real data, and then they actually calculate the customer lifetime value. And then based on 4 motivation, here is share beauty, cluster segment host. They actually contribute to the most profit to Airbnb. So that's another I think it is getting more quant. So JCR paper, the multi-method, and then they calculate the CFE at the end. Now, another paper, GEMS paper, the impact of psychological identification with home name stocks on investor behavior. That's Chinese context. And the main prediction, home name, Chinese name versus non-Chinese name, and stock investment, return or intentions. So empirical H1, and then also experimental, H2 mediator moderator. So try to find the underlying psychological process. So it's another typical approach. They use it. No. So yeah, my research. Yeah, try to move on my research.
Okay.
I'm doing. I'm more empirical. So retail app marketing, retail app usage and purchase data, 90,000 customers, 60 stores, 2017, 2018. And consumer level panel data from 60 stores in Seoul, actually from Paris Baguette in Gangnam-gu, Gangnam Street District, and customers transaction, ID, time, stamp, products, quantities, stores, and spending. And then there's like a 단골 고객, 단골 kind of setting. So preferred
lower
store
goal.
choice. Yeah. The PSC, we name it like a preferred store choice. Time and store level customer satisfaction survey result. So these are data we collected. And then we look at this kind of, it's quasi-experiment. So some people chose their 단골 매장, others didn't choose it. And then what about their purchase behavior, offline store? And then we add like moderators, customer characteristics and store characteristics. So then, so two groups matching between control and then treatment group, propensity score matching, and then we did the DID. Yeah. So that's still waiting for JBR. Yeah. It was actually rejected by top journal. Now it's JBR second round review.
JBR is top journal.
No, still waiting for I don't know. Still waiting for the decision. Yeah.
Okay.
And then franchise encroachment. So like Paris Baguette's new franchise stores coming in. What about their impact on neighboring kind of franchise store?
I see.
Yeah, revenue, and then the consumers kind of spending behavior. That's the franchise encroachment. And then still working on it, but yeah. We got some rejection again, Journal of Retailing. So still, try to handle. We have look at store level finding, like incumbents experience the sales degree cannibalization, and the low sales attenuated by the inter-store distance. If we're the further away, that's okay. And we
quite
check
interesting story.
level.
Okay.
Yeah. Segmentation targeting. Segment A is no impact. Segment B, like patronize both incumbent and new stores. And the thing is, if new Parliament comes in, still they consume more. New store and the old store. And segment C, just switch to new stores. So we found kind of three segments. And then we see some kind of before and after encroachment, and then the difference. Segment A, B, C. Yeah.
Okay.
Still struggling.
Okay. So like a few papers about the Airbnb, like the between Airbnb and hotel. So once Airbnb coming in the area of a hotel, how the hotel the competitiveness affected by Airbnb come in, and they proven there is not relevant or irrelevant between Airbnb hotel distriction. And then we can argue, okay, Airbnb is one way of a new channel for travelers beyond hotel industry. So it's none of your business anymore. So this is my contribution. And okay, Airbnb is another channel for the increasing the number of consumers, accommodation consumers. Out of the hotel industry, so it's very persuadable. This one is also very persuadable. The parabaget is a dinosaur in the Korean market.
Yeah.
And once the dinosaur come in, probably affect the area of other stores, positively and negatively. I assumed very negatively to the other stores.
That's right.
Mm.
Now, that's other stores, but what about same franchise?
Uh-huh.
Within same franchise stores, new franchise comes in, and there's a positive negative effect. Positive kind of brand like awareness or kind of more exposure, and then negative is kind of cannibalization. Still kind of people have to the share value can be shared by different stores. But the thing is here they have like a Happy Point membership program, so they can actually trace all the users' kind of behaviors. So if we have like Airbnb and hotels, we can have access to like or two sources of data, only like hotel data only. But still we can see some kind of distance or kind of before and after new album comes in, maybe some effect. Yeah. Yeah, that's another, the recent paper, pro-social behavior. So empirical plus experiment. So I am working with one charity in the UK. It's kind of industry university partnership project. And then I analyze the UK city level kind of donation behaviors. And then work with some online experiment with a US CB researcher. So I first check the question over here is, theory here. So conflicting theories about diversity, deprivation, and prosociality. That's from literature. And the research question is about how diversity and deprivation affect prosocial behavior. So diversity can be measured by different, like it's the number of white British and English-speaking household and Christian and born in the UK. So the four measurement about diversity kind of ethnic diversity, language diversity, religious diversity, and then birthplace diversity. And deprivation is about percentage of house crowding, and then employment, and health. So from the Office of National Statistics, like government body, they release every 10 years census data. So we use this one, city level diversity and deprivation, and then combine with the average donation amount per postcode area about city level, and then see, those interactions between diversity and deprivation affect the donation behavior. And then we collect data from experiment from US context, and then we got similar convergent result. And then we add like empathy as a mediator. So that's the paper.
Like a pro-social behavior.
Yeah.
Which means is considering more people and friendly to the society. Is that
or donation, voluntary,
voluntary.
Yeah.
So people like helping other people in the society.
Right. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Or donation or charity giving, those behaviors.
Okay.
But people say more diverse neighborhood, less diverse neighborhood. So more white dominant people, like a neighborhood, less like more diversity. And there's a kind of positive negative impact on prosocial behavior.
Good.
Deprivation, rich people donate more or poor people donate more. So still conflicting. So that's how now they did this separately, diversity and prosocial behavior, or deprivation, prosocial behavior. They never look at like interactively together. And then we got the idea from recent science paper, and then this conceptual piece, and then talk about diversity and prosocial behavior. And in the paper, they look at how economy interconnectiveness among those groups can actually bring more. It's not a simple diversity and prosocial behavior. We have to consider economic kind of exchange among those neighborhoods. So we got the idea from science paper, and then we try and bring some empirical with data. And then new projects. It's about message appeals and lottery donation behavior. So now because donation, it's not pure donation. You buy lotteries. It's gambling. So, and you want to get some prize, or you can help each other. So I work in CB and IS research together. We conduct the first email-based field experiment. So it's more game focused. That was April 1st, like this year. So one scenario is to help children. The other one is a win £1,500. And then third one is helping children and win prize. So three scenarios. And then we found that like just win 1,500 is lowest kind of click rate and open rate. And then maybe that's game focused. Maybe we're gonna do next experiment with a loss focused. So like don't forget to help children, something like that. So don't lose chance to win. But this loss focused, and then we can check the open rate, click rate, and finally the final conversion called actual lottery purchases. So if you get this kind of data, and then we are trying to do some experiment, mediate model, and then literature review. This is for if the results are kind of good, and try to target some top journal. That's the just initial stage. And the coupon duration and variety seeking or novelty seeking. Now just empirical model, so OTA hotel booking. So independent variable coupon duration, and then spending or depend variable, and mediator can be novelty seeking or variety seeking, or moderator can be planned behavior. And these are from purely empirical, not from primary data. And then we got this kind of modeled mediation. And then now we are doing literature review and gap finding, and we'll do some online experiments, other experiential consumption, hotel, restaurant, flight bookings, and then check whether it's similar. And then we actually set the story and go for next procedure.
Good.
So they're all early stage. Nothing is confirmed. Just we just started, and future research. I strongly suggest we can combine experiment and empirical, theory, literature, empirics, real-world data, and innovative EV-driven empirical research. I call QI, quantitative intuition. I mean, it's a combination of data, analytics with the intuition, and listening to real-world data, interdisciplinary, risk for good. So we can target decent papers, targeting elite journal, and then try to get some external funding in the UK, and then for teaching purpose. Yeah, I think I have some more, but maybe I can stop here, and then maybe some question coming from audience. It's very quick.
Simon, by the way, can you show us your location through the Google Maps?
Okay, my location. Okay, yes.
Because we have no idea where Cardiff is.
Yeah, please, I can show you my location and my house.
Yes, it's definitely giving us the powerful motivation to do research. Okay, because people are likely to live in the Cardiff or in England or Scotland by finding a job in that's the extrinsic motivation for our students why we study, because I'll get a job in the Cardiff.
Yes. So now, so this is the UK. So that's London. So from London, you go west. And then, London, big city, Birmingham here. And then Bristol. So we go Swindon, Reading, and then, Swindon and Bristol. And then this is Cardiff.
Cardiff.
So
Cardiff is...
It's Wales.
Wales.
So UK is like this whole England is big. And this is Wales. Very rural area. And then Scotland is up here. Scotland is this was border, and
Okay.
Scotland, Glasgow, Edinburgh,
Okay.
and then Northern Ireland, Belfast.
Okay. I see. Okay. I see.
So UK consists of England, Wales,
Uh,
and Scotland,
okay.
and then Northern Ireland, and then we have Ireland.
Okay. I see.
So Dublin is the city, capital of Ireland.
I see.
So here, like a Manchester kind of up, we call Midland,
Okay.
Leeds, Liverpool, and then some like Sheffield, like and then Nottingham. So big cities like all England. And then we have some Wales, small,
Okay.
and then here Cardiff and Swansea. Ki
Mm.
Seong-yeong used to play in Swansea.
Okay.
So this is Cardiff. It's kind of south and west.
Okay.
So from London to Cardiff, like 2 hours by train.
Okay.
Yeah.
See.
And then from here, so Cardiff, all like Cardiff University, and I work here. And this is my home.
Okay.
So I drive 12 minutes by car.
12 minutes. Huh.
Yeah. Or you can walk 45 minutes, like
Oh my
walk.
God. I
And then
take
this is
1.5 hours from my home to Seongsoo University.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I like this lake. This is a great lake. It's very beautiful.
I see.
So normally I just
I'm so
take a
jealous.
walk.
I feel it. I once I visited Cardiff and Swansea, very beautiful country.
Yeah.
And so
It's a coast, like a beautiful area.
yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, if you, I mean, now tourism school in the UK, the Surrey is a good tourism school, but they are merged together business school now. So East is the dean of the Surrey Business School. Now
Yes.
tourism become a part of business school.
Okay.
And then
Is good or bad?
Pardon?
Is it good or bad?
It's very good. Yeah, Surrey is good. It's close to
I mean,
London.
it's merging.
But I'm not quite sure. Maybe because now UK is suffering from financial problem,
Okay.
and Surrey is kind of try to little bit
Squeeze.
squeeze.
The one.
But I think it can be a good synergy. Maybe some tourism research they don't like this kind. They lose their identity, but still they are good researchers. They are working together.
Okay.
I don't know. The East is the dean, so she can make more like a synergistic like environment
I see.
between two
Great.
schools. Yeah.
Okay, students, open up the questions for him. Not just only research, but also life in London, life in UK or Cardiff. Okay. Feel free to
Any
ask him.
questions? Any simple question is okay. Any question? Yeah, please. It's important to ask questions.
Okay.
We spend 2 hours right now, and
you are humans. Chen Luting. You're from China, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Jungkook.
Professor, thank you for your great lecture. And I'm just wondering why you choose the academic this simple question.
Good question.
Yeah, good question. So when I work in a company, I mean, it's good to have a good salary. The SK Telecom is really, I mean, they pay a lot. But sometimes it's quite frustrating because you're just a tiny part of big organization, and then you have certain good ideas, but it's difficult to realize those ideas because of a lot of hierarchical situation, political situation. And I've done some research, I mean, project together with other members. And then when you report to our kind of management, they didn't accept it. Sometimes it's different ideas. And then, so why, how can I implement my ideas? So then, and then the different talent are needed. I mean, getting more relationship rather than only work. So then maybe I need more freedom academic freedom, autonomy,
Okay.
and then you work hard, and you can get some outcomes. So there's no shortcut in research. You put your effort, you can get output. Even though you fail, but don't give up. So a lot of failures give you more experience and learning from those review comments, even though it's failed. Read the comments many, many times, and you can learn a lot. And next time, try to don't make the same mistakes again. Try to build up your knowledge based on those review process comments. And try to think about how can I improve it in the next project. So I like this kind of learning new things, curiosity, make me more, okay, it's good to work in our industry. Now, because my work experience, now I work with some other companies and business managers. I go and have a talk with SK Broadband, some kind of other like a manager, kind of executive education. And then I like talk with the managers. I have academic research problems and their problems. We can have true discussion and then help each other and grow each other.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh. Any other students? Hello.
Yeah. Any questions?
Hardly. Where are you from?
Morocco.
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 So any questions?
French-speaking country, right?
Sorry?
A French-speaking country? You speak French?
Yeah, too. Second language after Arabic.
Arabic. Okay, and the French. Arabic and French, yeah.
Thank you.
Casablanca?
Casablanca.
How about?
Rabat is the capital, right?
Capital, how about? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for your insightful lecture. Your career path and your experiences are so inspiring and so diverse that we could learn a lot from you. I'm a little bit curious maybe about if you have a favorite research paper of your own and what makes it your favorite.
I mean, what is my favorite research paper?
Of your own, like
My
that
own. It changes over time. But now, if I were in your state at your stage, because you are learning as doing PhD, so I just present some key papers. It's worthwhile to read those papers, like Journal of Consumer Psychology, Journal of Marketing, and try to catch up. What are the trends? What I mean is about future trend, not the past, current and future. So you look at it as a futuristic kind of mindset rather than the past. So that's how you can better prepare the future trend. And those conceptual papers actually talk about the future. And you can prepare how you can go build up yourself. But it has to become your routine to read those such like papers, like recent papers about AI, Gen AI, even like look at those kind of marketing, business journal, top journals rather than tourism journal. Normally tourism is more application rather than kind of pioneering this kind of discipline. And then marketing, business journal, they're more kind of inclusive, more like comprehensive or generalized journal. And they are very deep and systematic. You can learn a lot. And then you can get some idea tourism, hospital context. Like Professor Gu, he keep asking this kind, how about applying this kind of situation in this? Yeah, that's good try. So learn from article, try to reflect yourself. So how can I do my research? Maybe can I apply this kind of anything, approach, theory, conceptual framework, or variables, methodology? How can I apply in my research? You keep trying and talk with your supervisor. What about try to apply this kind of
choose a
approach
good
in my research?
supervisor.
Yeah.
Intriguing your research idea.
Yeah. Try to bring some polish and sharpen your research idea. And then also you have to learn methodology routinely. Okay. So you have routine practice and then try to think about more critically and break out of your box. Try to go out of, I mean, you can think about more and big ideas. So how can you big ideas from top journal papers? Okay. And
Yes,
then
yes.
you can have your own kind of intuition, gut feeling. I like this kind of topic very much because when you do PhD, it's just that it's a long, painful journey. No matter what happens, I'm not going to give up. I just continue move on. That's topic. You have to move on, whatever happens. So you need
Right.
the passion. Yeah.
That's
So much for
that's
your
very, very important. Okay. We're still available 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's time to practice your English accent English. Jinsun, you're speaking English well. I know that.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a question about the research practice. How can the empirical and data and experimental data be effectively combined to simultaneously enhance both
Oh, yeah.
internal and external validity in research?
Yes. Yeah. Good question. So normally I have some CB researcher, experimental researcher, my empirical researcher. So when you have some idea, normally I bring the data and then to analyze data, find out some interesting kind of patterns, relationship among the variables, and then talk with the CB researcher. And then is it this kind of independent dependent variable, simple regression. It doesn't have to be complicated. Simple regression, independent dependent variable, maybe some kind of moderator, and run it and get to some results. Now, when you run it, what is interesting? Okay, what is kind of interesting variable? Okay, and then then you run the models, check some literature, some papers, and then what they are talking about this kind of relationship. Okay, so then maybe it's about measurement or relationship positive negative. Okay, then you can think about, okay, this relation is quite interesting. We can add more moderating mediator and talk with some CB or some expert researcher about, okay, why is it interesting? Why consumers kind of, care about this kind of relationship or any stakeholders. And then we talk about, okay, now conceptual model and results, we confirm it. And then the experiment, we can do different contexts with scale measurement, including mediator moderators. And then, first of all, we check the main prediction only, okay, in the different contexts. And run the model, get the result, and check the result as similar or different. If it's similar, then we get some confidence. Okay, we can move on to further add on to the mediator moderator. Okay, and then we check some literature together. But now it's not clean one-way journey. It's kind of look at data and check the literature again and coming back and change the variables and more iterative process. And then get the experiment data result and check it again and go back to empirical data again. Can you change any other moderator? Okay. And then if you say it takes time. So you need a good team. I mean, now you're PhD students, it's quite challenging for you, but you try this kind of process by yourself and then talk with us with the other researchers. You can talk with other researchers rather than only your supervisors because you need a more kind of discussion, debate. So no one is perfect. Even my idea is limited, maybe different ideas. It's about idea game. So talk with all the researchers. Is it good? Is it interesting model? Or is it right approach? You keep asking and talk with the people, and then you try to confirm your model.
Right. Wow.
Again, it's not clear answer, but
Doing yourself. Good. Okay, one last question from whom? Please volunteer. We are not slave. You are human. So you can speak whatever you want to speak.
Okay,
Okay,
Julian?
Yes, thank you for your lecture, Professor. As a researcher, how do you decide whether a research idea is worth pursuing or not?
There are two things like we call problematize research topic in terms of managerial relevance and literature relevance. So when you get certain idea, I check with some Economist magazine or Wall Street Journal, a kind of any Financial Times. So check some those kind of industry articles, or even from Google search, some talk about some industry kind of magazines. What do they talk about this topic? What are the kind of ongoing debates about this topic problem? And then also check the literature. Literature about top journal literature, not second tier. Good journal, Analyst Tourism Research, or Tourism Management, or JTR. Even like I check more marketing journals, like journal marketing. And then, is it really recent kind of ongoing debate? Or it's 10 years ago it's popular, now, not anymore. Then, no, people have no interest in this topic. So again, check two parts about real world phenomena. It's an emerging kind of stage, and literature review, literature part. Then we decide. And again, research question, again, what is contribution, selling point? So your variables, again, what is kind of interesting? Is it unique and independent variable, dependent variable, moderator, mediator? Or theory is still conflicting? And then you actually find out what are the main contribution here. So again, you need to have some discussion with supervisor, other researchers to actually validate your research idea. So don't look at literature only, just decide it, but it's a narrow, short-term minded. You have to look at broader, holistic way. Okay. And then also, you can check some special issue topics. Good journals, they have special issue. They're talking of really popular, hot topics. Is it aligned with the recent kind of debate? Then that's good. For example, like a Gen AI driven service failure and recovery. Now, service failure recovery is already established, topic. Now, what about Gen AI? AI driven service is failed and recovered. How is it different from normal service failure, the human driven kind of failure recovery? What about this AI driven failure recovery? People are more sensitive or less sensitive? Now, this kind of comparison is kind of good topic. Now, it's Journal of Service Research have a special issue about this kind of title. I think it's good to go.
Okay. Very good. 2 hours presentation is quite hard time. Professor Jang, thank you very much for coming into our research seminar, and very good presentation and inspiring my students. And probably in the near future or long-term based, they will be a good researcher because of your contribution. So, okay, can you say something to your home country students? Minutes. Okay.
I mean, how do I say? Don't give up, and then enjoy your time, and everything matters. Everything matters. Everything important. So, yeah, if you have any questions, just send me email. And then I'm happy to answer any questions. Yeah, based on my experience. Yeah, I'm happy to help. I mean, it doesn't have to be my co-author. Don't worry. I just want to help other people. If I know something, I need to. I like sharing with other people. So ask me, send me email,
Mm.
and I can give you a specific answer to you. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Professor Jang, and hopefully come back to home country and should meet me.
Yeah.
That's not an option. That's compulsory, and that is required. Your action.
I plan to go to Korea this July, late July. Maybe when I
Okay.
go, and I can send you a message and meet you in person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, student, thank you very much. Today we are afternoon class. I'm very happy to meet the Professor Jang from Cardiff University, UK, and I want you open up your eyes and ears because of his presentation. It is very important. Open mind. Okay. Do not restrict yourself or do not limit yourself into Kyunghee University. Kyunghee University is okay, but go overseas. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you
Thank you
next
very
year,
much.
Wednesday morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
감사합니다. Bye.
예, 감사합니다. 감사합니다, 교수님.